Hey, welcome back. This is another Flights with Joel production, and today I am at the Camarillo Airport in California. KCMA is the identifier in the Bell 47 G2 again. Love this little helicopter. So today I thought I'd give it a little bit of a longer flight and go look for MASH 4077 shooting location. Just putting on my track IR there. And I'm cold and dark. I'm going to do a little start. Check the controls. And I am turning the governor off, and I'm using Control F2 to make sure that the throttle's all the way down. I'm going to use Control F3 to turn the throttle back up. Main battery. And I'm going to give it a little bit of fuel, about 5 seconds of primer. This is right off the top of my head. This is not the proper technique, not using the checklist. Turn the mixture all the way to rich. Leave the carb heat alone. Make sure that's all the way rich. And it should start. There it is. What a beautiful sound. Props are turning. Rotor is turning. Doesn't have a prop. Then I'm going to go Control G3. See if I can meet the needles. Make them meet up. As I do this, the manifold pressure kind of goes nuts. So I don't know if that's right. Oh, and of course, a day after I did this, they came out with an update. So there is now an updated version, and could be different than what I'm doing here. Governor's back on. And except for all the things I missed on the checklist, just about ready to fly. And here we go, about to lift off. I have now switched to a replay in the flight recorder software I like to use. And this is an experiment to see if that software can replay for a long time. So the twitchiness is partly from the little flight recorder plugin. It's not really that twitchy, or I don't remember it being that twitchy when I'm flying it. It gets better as I go. I have it on medium. I put it on the advanced or the hardest setting, high, and I just thought it was ridiculous to try and fly without any feeling of the helicopter, because without that seat of the pants feeling, it was nearly impossible. So I'm having a lot more fun with this. I will keep experimenting, keep playing around with it. It sure flies better this way on medium. It's not fast, but it's fun. So, headed out, and I have to go east towards Van Nuys. The area I'm looking for is kind of triangulated right between this airport and Van Nuys Airport, and then south towards Malibu. It's in Malibu Canyon. It's actually a little park there, so let's see how I'm doing. And how I'm doing is I'm going the wrong way. I want to go down there. So I'm headed the wrong way. Let's get turned around here in a minute. All those little buildings that kind of look like solar panels in the sim, those are actually greenhouses. It's a lot of farming around here. always amazed me that right by Los Angeles, there's all these farms. It's pretty incredible. I've seen a bit of criticism about this helicopter from some. I just think it's awesome. I think it's a really fun addition to the simulator. It is the first payware helicopter. It is the second helicopter to be done. For someone like myself who just loves helicopters, it's fantastic. I believe one of the biggest issues, which was the outside view being right up by it, that's already been fixed. But I couldn't wait to fly it, so I'm flying. I'm keeping it under 25 because I have already broken it a couple times. So it's a slow little ride, although it's really not far. Okay, this is what I'm basing it on. Here's the map. That's Camarillo Airport right there. And right in that area is the MASH shooting site. This is the Google Map view. And what you just saw was the map from AirNav. So it's right there, right in there. So it's kind of hard to sync those things up. But I'm going to try it. And the reason I got to look at those and fly is because, as I said a minute ago, I'm actually in replay mode. So I'm going to fly along, and now I can just look at the scenery and relax. Check out the helicopter detail. I'm not sure what people are complaining about. I kind of get it. I mean, maybe they're comparing it to aircraft that have come out. There have been some really nice ones, but it's definitely the nicest Bell 47 that's come out for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And it's one of the nicest helicopters, according to many helicopter buffs. This is why I love this sim. That looks amazing to me. I cannot get any of the other sims to look like this. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, it's just scenery and the flight dynamics are terrible. Well, I'm not sure that's true. And yes, I have flown a real airplane. I have a pilot's license. Mostly 172s. I've done about 30 minutes in a helicopter. I found them far easier to fly than they are in the sim because before they move one direction or another, you can feel it when you're actually sitting in it. You can feel it. And the controls, of course, are much better than what I'm using. I am using pedals, Cytec pedals, which are now Logitech owns the bot Cytec or something. And I'm using an old joystick with the spring cut down for helicopters. Helicopter flight controls are as much as a new computer, or more. So I haven't quite convinced myself to go that route yet, although it's got to be easier to fly when you have that. Okay, see where I am. Okay, I need to go past those lakes, those little lakes there. So I'm headed the right. Actually, I'm headed right at them. Driven this area quite a bit, but it looks a lot different from up here. I forget how mountainous it is. It's a lot of 2,000 and 3,000 foot peaks. Just not when you think of Southern California, LA. But it's not flat. There's a lot here. A lot of different scenery. Playing around with some views here. In my opinion, there are just too many view options. This is the GoPro view. That was the GoPro view. But this sim has too many view options. Occasionally I'll go back and try to fly in P3D, but the scenery now looks so primitive, it's hard for me. I still like the way the airplanes fly better at this point. The idea behind this sim is incredible. If the flight dynamics are based on all the air that's going around them, it seems like they should be working a little better. There's some kind of disconnect between controls. This helicopter flies really well. Really well. And I'm having better luck than a lot of people as far as flight. I'm just looking at the rotor animation there. Which there was a actual aircraft mechanic that was on one of the forums talking about how that was wrong. And he knows better than I do. Looks good to me. But an aircraft mechanic would probably have a much better idea. It was very minor stuff. So, if they're willing to fix that stuff, that's great. That's even better. The developers of this helicopter seem to be really open to input. Lots of input. Getting a little slow now because I'm looking around too much. It can do just above 90. You get to 100 or more and it gets tricky. Got some air traffic up ahead of me. About 2 o'clock. Okay, so I paused for a minute because I'm running out of gas, and that has to do with the replay tool. So I wanted to see if I could just pause, throw some more fuel in, and keep going, if it would still work. So replay resume, and yes, there will be a link in the description for that tool. But yeah, that's kind of cool, because the only reason it was low on fuel is because the replay left it at the amount of fuel it had when I was at the end of the flight. I know that makes any sense to anybody, but I started with half a tank, and when I got there I was probably a quarter of a tank, so that's where the replay started, quarter of a tank of fuel. So as unrealistic as it is that I can refuel on the fly, I don't necessarily want to crash and burn just because I forgot to look at a detail. What we're looking at there is Malibu Canyon, Malibu Hills. If you continue south over those hills, you'll hit the ocean and right near Malibu. Amazing area. People pay a lot to live there. All right, I have spotted the first lake. We're getting close. Thanks for hanging out. If you're still flying, if you fast forwarded to the end, that's okay too. But if you're still with me, thanks for flying along. A big part of my sim experience is having fun. And making the videos is fun too. Gives me something to do. Gives me something to do beyond just flying around. Oh. So the doors are on now. When I started the flight, they were off. That's interesting. Didn't even notice that till now. So in a couple of my recent recordings, I have done a musical interlude about here. Just checking out all the different parts of this helicopter. I think the details are pretty cool. Yep, I'm close. I need to make it down to those little lakes right there. Right there, okay. So in a lot of my flights, I've done little musical interludes, but there's only one song that works for this flight, and it's copyrighted, and it doesn't work yet. So towards the end, I'm going to say, open another browser window, if you're on a browser, and start the theme song for MASH, and it'll go along with the end of this video. But not yet. This is why I'm hearing no traffic, because I'm not tuned into anything. Still probably will hear no traffic. Seeing a lot of traffic. Yes, you can comment about the ATC in Microsoft Flight Simulator now. I'm a little surprised there's not more add-ons for ATC yet. A little wobbly from the outside. Not drunk. Must be some wind gusts. So this is just the light hitting a weird way, and so the rotors are going nuts on the windshield. It's kind of freaked me out for a minute. Also for me, I don't know if anyone was noticing this, but the reflections on the instruments I think are a little overdone. I've never been flying in a real aircraft when I couldn't see the instruments. Never. But I don't have thousands of hours either, and so it might be like, this might be accurate, I'm not sure. So here's the little lake I was looking for. We're almost there. Lots of luxury homes right here. A place called Paramount Ranch is just up to the left, just north of this little lake. And that's where a lot of westerns were filmed at one time, and it's now also a park. Oh, so I can take the doors off as I fly, on the fly. That's interesting. That's great. So Paramount Ranch is an old western town. It's got some cool artifacts. I think it burned. Looking at it on the maps, it looks like all or part of it burned down in the latest fires. So that's pretty sad. There was some talk of rebuilding it. I'm not sure what the situation is now. If anyone lives in this area or knows, maybe you could comment about the ranch. It's still there, if part of it's there, if they're going to redo it. I looked for that later, it's not there. Alright, I'm pretty sure I spotted a landing site, which is very close to what I'm looking for. So if you queued up the music I was talking about, you want to play the theme from MASH, you want to do that in about 10 seconds, probably start that. And there it is. The experienced Bell 47 pilots came in a whole lot faster. But if I back out here and I look at this, you see that black line right there? Right there, that big black circle. Okay, now I go to the map. There we go. And zoom in a little here. That circle right there, that's actually picnic tables. You can hike in here and check out this site. That's an old ambulance, not represented, but I think that black line is right there. This was literally my first attempt, and I'm pretty sure I nailed it. If that represents those picnic tables, I nailed it. It's just that I should be landing up a hill, which may or may not have existed. But yeah, top of one of these hills is where they would land these, and there it is. Thanks for flying along, and see you next time.